success. And many of us will have to pass through the valley of hardship, sacrifices, and determination again and again before we reach the mountain top of our desires. Nelson Mandela. Greetings to each one of you present here. I am extremely overwhelmed to get this opportunity to introduce Professor Jagannath.K.Dange, Professor, Department of PG Studies in Education. Professor Dange is a well-known personality in the field of education among the B.Ed colleges of the state and nationwide. An excellent academician, educationist, has contributed much to the field of education and inspiration to many. A vibrant, active, amazing person with a humane touch, very down to earth and an approachable person. To start off, Professor has pursued his MSc Psychology from University of Madras, MA Sociology from our very own KSOU, M.Ed from Gulbarga University, PhD, has cleared NET and SLET in education. Professor is right now the chairperson, PG Department of Education at Shimoga. Sir has developed content in multimedia, has worked in various capacities at various advisory boards, has organized almost 36 programs. Professor is a recognized MPhil and PhD guide from Kuempu University, Karnataka, India. Has successfully guided 3 MPhils and 12 PhD candidates. Professor has been the resource person in Doordarshan, Chandana TV, in All India Radio Akashvani and Bhadravati Yuvavani program, has presented 42 international, 63 national, 3 state and 1 regional papers. Sir has taken training in various courses, programs, national and international. Has authored 14 books, published 283 papers. He is a member of various advisory and editorial boards. Sir has to his crown 7 awards. Is into various boards of the university. Has visited various countries as a resource person. The list goes on. We are extremely happy and privileged to have you at our institution and at this seminar, sir. I wholeheartedly welcome you, dear sir, to this session. Over to you, sir.
His Excellency, Most Reverend Dr. Thomas and Mysore, Reverend Father Vijay Kumar, and Father Madalai, Father Avinash, and the Honorable Member of IGIMP, Ms. Sudha Srinivasa Reddy, the Honorable Principal of this college, Dr. Priya Mathuji, and the seminar convener, Dr. Aisha Bathos, and all the dignified members of this community and honorable members of this college, teaching and non-teaching staff, the dignified colleagues from teacher education sector, from university as well as from the teacher education institutions, and lovely students. It's really a wonderful opportunity, and I feel elated to be a part of such a wonderful program. The reason why is, just 1 year back, we had passed a very serious time, as we can say, the pandemic, which has created a lot of havocs in all the spheres of life. And naturally, it affected the education sector too. And the changes which has been taken place by the pandemic in the teaching learning process, in the administration, in the management, in the learning process especially, we couldn't imagine actually these kind of the changes which we need to adopt, which we need to experience, and we need to change. But today we realized that the kind of teaching, the kind of learning aspects we had learned, we had practiced all these years were never useful to a greater extent. That was the one important aspect which brought the changes in the teaching learning process at all levels. The second important thing is, recently we got a document, that is National Education Policy of 2020, which has given a lot of recommendations in relation to the higher education sector. And most of the recommendations are quite new. In bridging those two important spheres of life, two important aspects of life, what challenges we are facing nowadays in the higher education sector, especially in India, in particular, and in the entire world in general. These are the two aspects we need to introspect, we need to debate, we need to discuss a lot at the different platforms. And I feel this platform would definitely provide ample opportunity to all the participants and different stakeholders to share their views and introspect ourselves what needs to be done to address those challenges. How we update ourselves for the new innovations which are coming up, and how to adjust ourselves with the new trends which are experiencing nowadays. So I feel the title itself is very need-based, quite neatly crafted by the organizing team with the help of the different stakeholders, as I can feel. So in relation to that, I would like to thank the organizing team for giving me this wonderful opportunity for sharing my views and presenting in the form of inaugural address. Of course, there are a lot of issues which I have brought to you, which I will discuss in my session. But few things to highlight here. We know that the very intention of education is to uplift the man's innate abilities. We all strongly believe that. Every individual is unique, and the that unique competencies have to be addressed and uplifted with the help of education. And higher education is the epitome of that. And we need to understand the different knowledge perspectives where we can address in higher education. And I feel equality is the prime responsibility of education. Unless and until you bring the equality in education, nothing can be solved, nothing can be done. Because if partiality is there in education, it is itself a threat to education and mankind. And all these institutions, they are striving really hard to uplift the group which is marginalized, which was untouched and unreached over the decades of time. So this is what is required in education in general and higher education in particular. And if you see the document of National Education Policy, which has rightly mentioned that there are 5 important challenges of higher education. And those are the accessibility, equity, affordability, quality, and the accountability. If any education system addresses these challenges, naturally the education system would be best to the mankind. And all the nations, not just India, entire world is behind this. Every document released by the different countries are striving hard to achieve these challenges, to overcome these challenges. And in relation to that, the accessibility is the big challenge of a country like India, because it's a very populous country. The even enrollment of higher education in India is 40 million. You won't believe, in the entire world there are 40 countries whose population is less than 40 crore. So this is what the big challenge we are facing today, and the Knowledge Commission of 2009 has rightly mentioned that at least there must be 1,500 higher education institutions and universities which can serve the Indian population. But till today, we are having just 1,043 universities and 40,000 plus colleges and 16,000 standalone colleges. So still we haven't reached to the expansion which needed to be done in India in particular. And the other aspect is the inclusive setup which needed to be there in the higher education. Irrespective of the caste, creed, religion, race, irrespective of the intellectual ability of the individuals, the learning styles, we need to update and adopt and provide the opportunity for all the learners. If we could do that, actually, that would be a very important step ahead. We can reach the accessibility of higher education to all. And you won't believe, actually, there are more than 35 varieties of schools in India. Primary and secondary schools. If such a huge number of varieties of schools are there in India, means how can we adopt and equate ourselves to train them in the higher education sector under one roof? We just see the differences between the kind of government schools, the kind of CBSE schools and the private schools. The entire structure differs. You take infrastructure, you take the teaching styles of the teachers, the language they use, the socio-economic background from students come. How can we equate these different sets of students in one roof in higher education? How to prepare the curriculum, how to train them? If we expect the equality, that's what the Gandhian study says actually. They are doing a lot of work in terms of creating that non-violence and bringing the equality among the local masses, especially around the globe. So how to do it? It can be a very big challenge again. And if you take the teacher's role, again there is a big lacuna. Most of the teachers are not updated themselves in the higher education. Still many of the teachers don't know how to start a system. They need the help of their students to operate the PowerPoint presentation. So in this situation, the world is going somewhere actually. The ubiquitous kind of learning we are expecting nowadays. Learning from everywhere, from everyone. So how to adjust with that pace is also one of the very big challenge. And the quality of teaching which is expected by the higher education around the world need to be updated. And that must be transparent. This is very important. That's what all the accrediting bodies are expecting, that every teaching learning act must be transparent. Whatever you are teaching in the classroom need to be displayed in the different platforms, need to be evaluated properly in 360 degree. Maybe the evaluation by the students, teachers themselves, as well as the parents and the higher authorities. So that is the new trend we are having. So how to adjust with that? How to solve these problems? And appointments is a big challenge. Not only in India, it's in the entire world actually. We are having 14 lakh teachers in the higher education sector in India. The ratio is also very big, 1:28. How can we reduce it actually? There are a lot of vacancies in central universities. You won't believe, AIMS, one of the best institutions of the world, is having a dearth of 80% vacancy of teaching profession, where the best doctors will be prepared, all India medical sciences. So it's also part of higher education. Recently, we have read that there are 467 vacancies in the Mysore University. Then how to handle those teaching learning processes? Who is handling it? If the qualified teachers are not there, we are running the show with the help of guest faculty. Is it ideal? For how many years we can run like this? If we want to compete globally. We are talking about Stanford, Harvard and Massachusetts Institute of Technologies. They stand high in the rankings. None of the Indian universities are there in the ranking list. What is the reason? These are all the reasons. It's not just one, there are n number of reasons actually. And the big challenge is the political interference. Nobody is talking about that. In every sphere of higher education, you find a political leader. You won't believe. For just taking an MA admission, a political leader calls you and asks you to give a slot. And which is quite normal for getting PhD also. They will have their own slots of PhD students. They recommend to take it. So such kind of interference will really hurdle in the higher education sector. They are acting as the big challenges. And unless and until we think and introspect and make the changes in the system, we will not grow. The challenges will be there forever. Because we are all the stakeholders of this higher education system. And unless and until the professionalism in this higher education, we cannot move ahead, we cannot grow. We always blame one another. That is a big challenge, I would say. No doctor will blame other doctor. No lawyer will blame other lawyer. But one teacher will naturally blame other teacher. This is what a big challenge is. Always we say that other teacher is wrong and I am right. But no doctor says the other doctor has wrongly diagnosed me. He always says that yes, I will change the prescription and this is what we have to use. So this is what the professionalism we have to adopt. At least in this era, because this era is entirely changed. The learning ability of the students have been changed. Parents are expecting something more than that, what we have addressed all these years. So which is indirectly and directly making a point that we need to change ourselves. And the one important aspect I would like to highlight, and I conclude my inaugural address, that we know that earlier the powerful person was one who had more land. That's the reason why a lot of kings used to conquer the other kingdoms. They wanted to have more lands. After that, the industrial revolution has changed the power again. Those who were having more industries, they were more powerful. But today, again there is a change. One who is having more data is more powerful now. No land, no industries. Why this has been happened actually? The one example I will quote here, by name, Elon Musk. Recently he has purchased Twitter. You might be knowing it. Do you know the price of that? It is $42 billion. You won't imagine. Nowhere it is existed in the air. Nobody can touch that Twitter. What made that person to purchase it for a huge amount? Was it mad? The reason why I will tell you, another fascinating thing is, in the globe, there are 70 countries whose annual budget is less than $42 billion. This is the reality. The reason why Facebook, WhatsApp are giving freely means they are taking the data from us. We are all providers of the data to those companies. This is what the challenge is now. How to do, how to stop it, how to overcome it. What they do with that data? They are doing computing with our data. Whenever I add a snap to the Facebook knows that actually I am interested in something. Just for example, if you take a dish, you are taking dinner in a hotel and mentioning that you are interested in taking that dinner means, that dish means, the automation is identifying your interests. If you are taking a selfie and uploading it to the Facebook or sharing it in the WhatsApp means, the WhatsApp group is collecting your information indirectly. and slowly and steadily we are providing all our important personal data to the companies. That's the reason why one who is having more data will rule the world now. This is also one of the challenges of higher education. How to overcome it actually? Do you know Google is very rich than many countries actually? It will not produce a single button. Then why it is, how it is earning and why it is spending so much amount of that actually? It is all because the algorithms which are being monitored, which are being mentored. All the data which we provide is used by algorithms, and tomorrow there will be a big challenge for all of us, not only for the teachers. Everything will be decided by the algorithms. The algorithm will tell you what you have to eat, how you have to eat, what tablet you have to take, to whom you have to visit, in terms of doctor, lawyer, and even to whom you have to marry. Because every data we are providing, and that algorithm will tell that what is my nature. Even I may not be knowing my personal things, but that algorithm will be telling you that who you are, what is your interest, what is your aptitude, and how intelligent you are. This is what we are giving every day, and that's the reason why a very important person who is an Israeli intellectual by name Yuval Noah Harari, he has published a very important book. Please read it. Its name is 21st Lessons for the 21st Century, wherein he has rightly mentioned that there will be no job market for the professionals who are working in this era. Maybe after 10 years, we may be jobless. The doctors who are working in the clinic may be jobless because a software will be doing that work of a doctor. Already, all governments have already insisted that every teacher has to record their own lessons, and they have to be published, they have to be uploaded in the website. And tomorrow, students will be just viewing those videos, and there will not be required of any teacher in the classroom. So hence he rightly suggested that it is not only the jobless market we get, and even those who will be in the profession may not work as well, because they will not be having of that competency to work in that era. So unless and until I update myself to the next generation, I cannot work in the workforce. So this is what a big alarming thing for all the stakeholders of higher education, wherein we have to think and act, as we all know that slowly and steadily there will be no classrooms. There will be no students in the schools and colleges, and there will be no doctors in the hospitals. Why? Everything will be virtualized. The schools, colleges will be virtual. Digital libraries we are having now. Digital laboratories we will be having now. And slowly we are keeping away ourselves from the fields. If the things are so, if this thing will come, what would be the challenges? How a human being can interact with other human being? Only when we are interacting with the machines every day, more than human beings. The kind of device which we are using nowadays is a very dangerous device, I will tell you. We need to use technology, there is no other go. But how to use it, using in a very sensible form, is also a very important thing to be considered for today's generation, because the problems are there in the field. These are the problems created by ourselves, nobody else. We cannot blame others unless we sit together, we introspect ourselves, and unless and until we find the solutions to the problems or the challenges, this field will be remain so safe to the next generation also, and the challenges will be always in the field. And I feel this would be a wonderful opportunity for all of us to sit together, to introspect and think what best we can suggest, what best we can change ourselves, so that we can bring the changes in the higher education sector. And I feel all the 4 important sessions would definitely throw light on those challenges as well as the trends, and even the paper presentations by all the stakeholders and the teacher educators will also throw some light. And at the end of the session, I feel that there should be at least a memorandum a list of suggestions so that we can suggest it to the government, policymakers, curriculum developers, parents, teachers and students. So by doing that, actually we can bring lot of changes into the teacher education as well as the higher education sector, not only India, which is required to the entire world. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my views in the inaugural address. Thank you very much.